Okay, so I just played in a weekend tournament, 4 rounds, long games, game 90, plus the 30-second increment, and it was at the Houston Chess Studio, first two-day tournament, $1,000 shootout. Awesome club. You should come check it out. Anyways, I wanted to go over my games. I did not have a great result, but I'm not too sad about it, and I'll go over why. So, 4 games. My first game against Ray, he's higher rated, lost to him. Down here, I already requested the computer analysis, but you can see that I was white, Ray was black. First opening moves were okay. Then I made a blunder. So Ray has the advantage, and for the most part kept it pretty well. He kept the pressure up, and I wasn't able to generate any counterplay really. Second game against Alfred, lower rated. We ended up drawing, but you can see here it was kind of a wild game. I had a good advantage at one point, minus 5.9. I don't know how that happened. It didn't feel like it was that big of an advantage. Then I ended up blowing it towards the end game, but then it was kind of late. I think Alfred was tired, and he ended up offering and draw because he couldn't find the closing, the killer move to just get me. So we drew there. So I was happy we drew, but really I should have won that. Third game, played some new guy, basically crushed him. Another King's Gambit. He played some okay moves at first, but then gave me the advantage, and then gave me he fell apart really. I'll go over that in a sec. In my last game against Brian's been playing, he's new-ish. He's a pretty serious tournament player. He's been studying and all that business. Friends with Nick. Good guy, so I don't mind losing to him. And Alfred, I also, even if he would have beat me, I wouldn't mind losing to him. They're putting into the work, doing a good job, getting better. But with Brian, you can see here, played the Dutch. So the Dutch usually is a concession at first a little bit, and then I had an advantage. I'm not sure it felt like I had an advantage, but then I kind of blew it. I didn't play actively enough. Well, he had a good attack, and we'll go over that in a few minutes. I'll start with Ray's. So Ray, we had King's Gambit. Oh, computer, don't give me that. King's Gambit's good. Usually Ray plays, let's see. He usually takes it. I go here, and he goes here. And that's usually what we play. But he said that he actually studied the King's Gambit and studied a different line just in case he ran into me, and he did. And so he was prepared, which is pretty awesome. All right, let's go back. Bishop c5. I develop like normal. Everything's pretty normal so far. Just developing. We're both playing computer moves. I even played this. I normally don't play against this, but this bishop here is super annoying. It's not allowing me to castle. And since I'm mostly developed except for the castling, I just attack it with the knight. It seemed reasonable, and that computer likes it as well. So here, I guess I could have pushed there. I wanted to keep my 2 pawns here and here, just in case after I castle, I have a little bit of protection. So I took the knight, castle. I'm feeling okay. Computer says I'm doing okay. Castles also. And this is where it went wrong. I underestimated the knight coming in here and causing trouble. So that's why the computer says do this, push c3. I didn't do that. I just did, what did I do? I pushed f5, minus 1.4. I don't think this move isn't bad. It's the fact that I'm letting in the knight. He doesn't come in right away, but he sees that this pawn push is good. And so after I take, and he takes, I actually almost made a blunder here. I picked up my bishop, and I almost put it here, which is terrible because then bishop takes here, removing the defender, and I have to deal with it. So I'll take there, and then the queen ends up taking there. So almost blundered big time, but put my bishop right here. Still not good. Knight comes in. And what was I doing here? I made a3. I think it's because I wasn't sure what to do. I thought maybe I'll push here. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just kind of like, I knew that it wasn't good for me, and so I tried to make like a move that wasn't going to make it worse. But I guess I needed to to find something better. A3, bishop takes. I didn't want to exchange for the rook. I thought maybe I'd get some counterplay with this open file, but the computer doesn't like that. The computer wants me to take with the rook. Then what would that look like? It would at least wouldn't have made the disadvantage worse. So I guess that's what I should have done at that moment. Didn't do that. Pawn. See, now he's got 2 awesome knights. He's going to come into this square. I can't really do anything about it. So I thought taking with the bishop was going to be better. Just if your opponent's attacking, I thought I was just going to remove some defenders or some attackers, and hopefully the attack would, I don't know, fizzle out. But that was not the case. So I hide my king, attack the pawn. I guess I should have tried to take off queens just to make it a little bit less dangerous, but that's not fun. Knight comes in. See, I still thought maybe I could generate something. Rook comes in. Ray's finding the good moves. Here I don't have many options, right? I'm not sure exactly what to do. I'm thinking maybe I can still attack this pawn. And so that's why I'm keeping my queen here, but I don't know. So I made a bishop move just to like make a move that wasn't completely losing. But I don't think at this point you can see I'm pretty much sunk unless Ray makes a terrible move. Here he's attacking the pawn. I was not sure what to do here. Because if let's say I move the queen here, then I knew that the knight is coming in, and then this was going to be not great. So what happens here? If I go here, he still does it. Here, here, here. I mean, my options are not very good at this point. So I'll just go over the moves. Comes over here, attack the pawn. He's defending the pawn. Again, this bishop, so I'm just kind of like making a move. Here I basically have to take, because if I don't, he's now attacking this pawn 3 times. I've only got 2 defenders, and he's attacking my queen. So I don't really have an option here except for to take and lose that exchange. So take that pawn. I'm not really expecting much from this game. I'm really hoping he takes this pawn. Wouldn't that be nice to win the queen? But that's not going to happen. Raised too good. So I make some more moves. Nothing great. Spite check. And he starts to break through, and so after he takes this pawn, I just resign here. So not quite the result I wanted from a King's Gambit, but at least it was fun in the opening. So Alfred's game, I'm playing the black line. He knows that I play this a little bit, so he plays this F4 move. To kind of be wild and to get me out of my prep. But since I don't have any prep, I wasn't really out of it. I've actually played this in Blitz a few times. It's a little bit of different move order. I think the knight comes out first before we start to exchange. But I don't like this line because we exchange queens. And that's just not very fun because now I don't have a queen. Here I took quite a bit of time just to make sure I'm making the right move because there's so many ways to defend this. I'm probably going to get checked with a castle, so that is going to create a pin. So I really have to analyze like which one of these things moves do I want to do, because then the bishop's going to come in or the knight's going to come in and they all start attacking here. So a lot of arrows. Bishop, I think, is the proper move. Here, I could have broken this pin by just with this bishop move, but I wanted to just completely get out. That was not a great move for him. Not sure why he takes this. I guess maybe it's easy to attack this pawn. Computer's saying to do this knight check. I am thinking that that's going to be good for me down the road if the position's kind of open, and so I thought that getting rid of his bishop and having the bishop pair would be good for me. So I kind of had that theme in mind, that get the position open and then try to have an advantage with the 2 bishops. So eventually I try that, but I want to get my rook involved, and so I'm not too worried about this. I went this direction. Valuation's still good for me. I went this direction because I wanted to attack this, and I also see this tactic, which I was hoping he didn't see, and he didn't because he went and attacked this. I don't understand how this is negative 5.7. That doesn't make sense to me, because I'm going to win a pawn. Right now it's even, but I win this pawn. You can tell he's not too happy because he sees the tactic. He sees the tactic now. The computer wants me to take this, but I don't understand why. Because let's say I take. Boom, boom. So now I'm up a pawn, but that's it. How on earth is it minus 5.6? I don't understand. I guess maybe my pieces are a lot more active. But it seems like, you know, this bishop, it's blocked by that, so it's not as active, but I'm still not exactly sure how to break through. I guess I can push my pawns, but I'm terrible at that. Don't tell anybody. So I didn't go that route. Bishop c4. I just develop. I want to connect my rooks. What do I do here? Here I'm trying to stop the knight from coming in and attacking this. I think I was playing a little too passively. I've still got minus 4.9, so I'm definitely winning. And in the game, I thought I had an advantage. It's not so big of an advantage. That doesn't make sense to me. So here, I'm thinking of attacking the pawn, because then I'll have two attackers. Didn't really consider this move, which he made. Pretty good move, because then if I take, or no. What happens? If I take here, he moves the rook, and then I'm pinned, and so he's gonna, I win a pawn, but then he's gonna win a piece. I don't think I can defend it. So I bolster the bishop, but that's not a good move. I also kind of saw that this was going to be a good move for white, but I don't know what I was thinking. Here I was just trying to get my rooks in place. So he makes this move, and I just back up. I double my rooks. Minus 4.6, still good for me, but what mistake do I make? Now he takes that. I didn't. Again, I'm like, I guess I'm up a pawn, and I'm gonna win this after all these exchanges, but I ended up taking with the pawn, which was just terrible. I don't know why. I guess I should have seen that he immediately comes back and then he's attacking this. But I thought, okay, then I'll take this pawn. I didn't realize I would get my bishop into trouble, which is what happens. So here, take the pawn. He makes that pretty quiet move, which I'm like, what? Oh, crap. Because here's what happens. I'm kind of trapping my bishop. If I try to go here, then check, and he's winning the bishop. So good tactic on Alfred, by Alfred. So didn't do that. That was a blunder. What was I supposed to do? I think do this so that I can come up and like attack on this row. But I didn't do that. I came back thinking that I could sneak out of there, and Alfred actually lets me sneak out a little bit. Let's see. What's he gonna do? He does this. So now my bishop's kind of screwed. I go back here knowing that he can just go here. But he doesn't do that, which I was so surprised. I still feel like my bishop's kind of screwed, so I wasn't sure what to do here. I did not consider this move at all, to kick the knight. That was a much better move than what I did. What did I do? I attacked the knight. So then he goes back, and I thought I would be getting out of this. And then I eventually analyzed it and saw that I'm still kind of trapped. But minus 3.5, the computer is way better than I am and can push pawns, but I can't, so I'm not going to be able to keep that advantage. So I take the pawn. What was I supposed to do? Let me get rid of these dumb arrows. Okay, I'm supposed to do this. I don't really know that. bishop. Oh, I see. So I do this, rook, take, and when he attacks this, I defend, and if he takes, and he is winning this, but computer still likes that a lot. And I still have my bishop, so I guess that's what I should have done. All right. So I was hoping I can get out. Well, I knew that I wasn't 100% getting out of this. He goes here. Here's the b5 move that I just didn't do. Didn't really look at that at all. Took that, went here. And this is where I'm down a piece. White is definitely winning. I thought maybe I'd be able to push. So what was my move? Thinking that, not realizing that he's about to trap me, which he did. So look, he's threatening this. He's basically, what's he threatening? He's threatening mate. If he gets another move right away, that's mate. So I have to block. And he wins that pawn back. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I guess I'm supposed to be trying to trade off, even though I'm just losing plus 3.4. So I try to defend that pawn. He starts setting up mating nets. I forget at what point he thought for like 20 minutes or something, because I think he was trying to calculate how to trap my king and then eventually checkmate. But I think it was wearing him down because he ends up taking a draw or offering a draw. I didn't offer a draw. Did I offer a draw? I don't think I did, because out of respect, I mean, he was definitely winning, so I wasn't gonna offer a draw. So yeah, he makes some really good moves. He is definitely threatening mate right here, which would have been a pretty sweet mate. So I had to move this, and he's still got mate in 5. And he's spending a lot of time here, and he's running out of time. I think he's, by this time, maybe 10 minutes, or maybe even less than that, maybe 5 minutes. So he's like pretty stressed out, not exactly sure what to do. Brings the knight back. I don't know how this is a draw. I still feel like I'm about to get crushed. And clearly I'm not making great moves myself. But I'm just trying to keep my cool and kind of hoping that he falls apart, and he started to fall apart. So he's still trying to find ways to mate me, which is awesome, but it's taking up time and it's wearing him out. So he sees that fork, or I see that fork, so I'm just trying to defend it. What was I supposed to do? Do this. I'm not sure. So anyway, so I defend it. I go back. I do this. And it looks like he's about to, we're repeating moves. He's low on time, and I think he's just kind of worn out. So he offered a draw, and I gladly accepted at that point. So good one, Alfred. Good game. All right, Gavvyn, new guy. King's Gambit. I'll go through it pretty quickly. They don't normally attack that pawn, but whatever. Attack the bishop. This is kind of interesting. That's annoying. It's not really going to do much for black, but then he does that. Also kind of interesting and annoying. I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. I just pushed my pawn. So he jumps in. I castle so that I'm at least safe, because he's attacking, although he's not going to get too far with just a bishop and knight. So I thought, okay, he's going to win a pawn. I'm okay with that, but he's not castled, so I'm just going to counterattack. Not sure why he didn't take this. I think I think the whole time he thought he had more going for him. So he brings in his bishop, skewering my queen, so I just get out of that and also attack or defend this pawn. So I was happy about that bishop move. He takes. He likes the knight here. I mean, I could easily win that and a pawn back. Or not win the knight, but I could easily win a pawn in that exchange. But he brings his queen out right there. Look at that. Terrible move. Bishop gets tempo. Here, I mean, there's so many places I could put the bishop. Computer just wants me to push there. Interesting. But, okay, what happens? Okay, so he goes here. He's got this pin going. So I could have immediately done this, but what did I do instead? I just put more pressure on this knight. He should have moved his queen. He goes f5, and he was so confused when I play en passant. Like it's just an illegal move. He's pretty new to chess. I knew enough where he was like, hasn't really played anybody who's ever played en passant. So that was not good for him. It's a little late to castling. He chooses to castle now. Now he's screwed because I'm going to take that pawn. And now this rook is coming in to skewer. Dude, after I take this pawn, dude touches his king. And then I'm like, yeah, you got to move that. And he's upset. And so I'm like, he's just holding his king right there. And I'm like, you can put your king down and think about your move. But he interpreted that as like he can actually make a different move, which is fine because he's screwed. I mean, he's about to get crushed. So he puts the king down and takes it with the queen. I'm like, okay, take the knight, remove that defender, and then skewer the queen. And so he's pretty much screwed. Mate in 6, but he doesn't. He just moves to the corner. I do this. I don't know which one's better. I guess they're both equally good. So mate in 4, because I do this, and there's no way to stop mate here. If he goes here, mate, or if he goes here, then what do I do? Then I go here anyway. So he went this route. I checked here and he resigned. So good game, Gavvyn. Learn en passant. All right. Black. I got black against Brian. Played the Dutch. Look at this computer. You don't like the Dutch? Whatever. Pretty normal moves here. Okay, so when he does that, I know it's going to get kind of crazy. Usually we end up castling opposite sides, and so then we start to just push pawns, which I'm not good at. Don't tell anybody. So I'm just doing my normal Dutch moves because I don't really know too much theory. So he goes back here. I'm doing my normal Dutch moves. I put all my pieces here. And I also made this move to see which side he's going to castle. Like, I wasn't going to move my queen here yet until he castled. So he ends up castling the other side. And so now I'm like trying to figure out exactly. I mean, I'm just gonna throw my pawns down the board. I don't really know how to, but that's what I'm gonna do. Bishop out. That's not good for him. That's where he gives me the advantage for a while. Here, I wasn't sure if I should take here and open up a file. So I thought for a few minutes here, and then just decided that taking with the queen was better, and computer agrees. So I moves the rook over. I know I'm gonna get some pressure. And yeah, I mean, I guess I should have moved this down, but I start to play some shenanigans, kind of wasting my time, not really getting anywhere. So here, bring the knight in. I thought that it would be good to exchange here, but not. And so I tried this dirty trick, just hoping. But he steps away. I go back, having kind of wasted a move. But I am attacking this, and I thought maybe just keep the attack up. So he goes here instead. He just decides like this is a waste of my time, and I thought about this move for a while and also trying to ask myself, is this a waste of my time? Computer likes it. Computer says I'm good. Take the pawn. But, and I do. So then we start to exchange. This is not good, obviously, but material-wise I'm still good, but my pieces are not as active as his. I mean, I guess I could have taken here just to stop that, but I want to use this for checkmating. Comes in here, bishop defends, doubling the rooks. I guess I should have moved my king now. What did I do instead? So I thought, okay, well, I thought I'd be able to do, he's going to do this. Wait, no. What did I think was going to happen? Okay, so I thought rook goes over, defends with the rook, and then if he does something like knight, bishop takes, then move up the pawn. And I thought it'd be okay, but I was wrong. So still do that, thinking I'm okay. Bishop takes, rook takes, g6. So I thought I was safe here. I didn't really analyze how much attacking power he has right now, or how many, how good his attack can be. Computer says you can move the queen there right away. Does he do that? Yeah, he does. I spent about 20 minutes on this move, trying to figure out what to do. So he definitely has an advantage, or at least his attack is super threatening, and I have to play very accurately, but I don't. I analyze a bunch of things. I analyze, what if I defend? What if I just move? What if I move the bishop here? Or here, or here? I really looked at a bunch of things. What if I just take this knight? Terrible move, but because he's going to come in, sack a rook, and I'm probably going to get mated. I did not even look at moving my rook right here, because that breaks the pin. I can maybe take the queen. So I don't see how moving the rook here is good. So let's try it. Move here, take, here. I guess he has to waste the tempo doing that. Computer says go here, but then if I take this, what on earth? Why can't he just smash this and then start killing me? I don't know how this is happening, and I'm still 0.9. I guess because he sacked a rook, and I'm weaseling my way out of this. Yeah, I mean, I've got big threats, but he went all in. I didn't consider this. Would have been okay for me. Well, that's why I'm terrible at this game. Where was I? Okay, so I didn't do that. I made that terrible move. Mate in 7. I thought I'd be able to survive a little bit longer, but calculated rook takes, move. I didn't consider this. Why didn't I consider this? I don't know. I don't see how that's mating. So he did that. He does this. I was ready for that. I was ready for that. Move the bishop there. I thought I was protecting, and he had to spend a little bit of time at this point trying to figure out exactly what to do, because he hadn't considered that bishop move I made, and so he didn't have like the exact follow-up attack. So he decides to bring his knight in. Computer thinks I'm just done, so I just need to sacrifice my queen for a few moves before I die. What did I do? I thought, okay, let me at least just start to take something. I thought the other option was to maybe like mobilize the knight, but I knew that he'd come in here and then I'd basically just be screwed. I didn't have time for anything. I was kind of just desperado. Let's take. Hope he makes a mistake. I even wasted a move right here. I don't know why. It's not even worth doing. So he does this. I don't really have any option but to do this. And then does he do the fastest mate? He goes ahead and just does that. Yeah, I guess there's 2 different mate in 2s. Rook takes. And then I just resign, because then my rook takes. If rook takes, then queen mate. Or about to mate. So, good game, Brian. Man, it is rough right now. All the new chess players coming to tournament play with a bunch of skills they developed over COVID, the pandemic, being cooped up. It's really rough. They're taking all our points, but I don't mind it. They're doing their work. I'm not, and so I don't have an excuse. I should have been improving like them. But anyways, good games.